Wow. Hi. Good. How are you?
That is enough, Bella. There's nothing we can do about that. She's a barker, so
That's fine. So Eric actually called a little after you called. Oh well, I'm there now, and I was like, she had something to do. I just, like I said, I would just like to facilitate that because, of course, whatever backlash she's giving you, she's not presenting to me. And so if it was just all together, just a conversation about, listen, this is what it is. We need a guide. It's just because I
Let me
offered.
take her outside.
Okay. I offered to
You behave. 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 Fudge. You better behave, girl. Yeah, you better behave. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
apparently he works.
You guys get in there. Go on.
Apparently he works all the time, so I don't know his schedule or anything. I don't concern myself with that. What I concern myself with is when he's supposed to come to Sarah and spend time with her. He talks a lot to me about, take her to my parents and my son. Take some time out of his life and call me or show up from school and have lunch with his daughter. Or he can,
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. It's not going to be. Thank you, though.
Okay.
or he can call one evening and say, can I come and pick up Sarah and take her for some ice cream and help her do her homework? Nothing, ever. And I don't push it on him. I don't tell him anything about it. There's no point in saying, well, you suck as a dad.
Does he pay child support at least?
He's paying me child support, but it's very it's not consistent, and it's a deal between he and I. It's not
Oh,
through
that's
court.
right. That's right.
So whatever he says he can afford it. He'll come out and tell me why I need to buy tires for my car, so I'll give you some money later on. In December he gave me $50. He's supposed to give me $200 a month. That's nothing.
Right.
And
And when you factor in everything, that's nothing. She eats more than that in 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, and then all her other little needs, growing up, she tries to keep up with
she's
everybody
like him.
at
She has
school.
this
And
fascination with shoes. I'm noticing. She has all these shoes. You want these shoes, and she's not a demanding child or anything like that. For attention, she is, but for
Yes.
material things, she's not. If I say no, we don't have any money for that. Okay, it's okay. So anyway, I understand that he's working a lot, and he and I have, for the most part, been getting along. He's had some issues with my husband, and they've solved it the way that cavemen do.
Right.
And so, but he's never mentioned it back to me. Eric has never mentioned anything back to me. One thing that I would like to talk about is the schedule. He wants to bring Sarah when he comes into town for his job. It's not my fault. It's not his daughter's fault. He needs to go to bed early on Sunday nights to get to school Monday morning. Otherwise, it's hell in this house in the morning, trying to get her going.
it's not fair to her.
He's bringing her at 8, sometimes after, sometimes not till 9.
10.
I can appreciate he's trying to save some money or whatever, but like I said, that's his problem that he lives over there
Right.
in between, the towns. He needs to bring her at a more respectable time, and he needs to be consistent about that.
Well, and we can definitely talk about stuff like that. I by no means am like a court-ordered mediator or anything like that. I think a lot of times it just helps to have somebody
Yes.
facilitate this type of stuff. But the reality of the situation is if you really want something concrete and something done, it would have to be in the courts. And I know that you don't want to, and a lot of times it's easier and better to just keep it out of the court. But the only way this is what it is, it's gonna happen, it's gonna be enforced, is if it's in the courts. Because the first time he's late, you report it. And then,
Well, I'm not that big of a bitch or ass.
No,
where I'm
sure,
gonna
and
call
I hear-
every time he's
right.
late, but
but that's what I'm saying, so we can definitely talk about it. I'm not trying to steer away from it, and we can talk and we can address it, and again, sometimes having somebody in the middle, but it just will never be anything that can be enforced by anyone unless it's through the courts somewhere,
I understand.
I
I understand, and we've been dealing with this since she was born. Since she was 6 months old, we've been dealing with it out of the courts. Only for those certain times where we were pulled in there, and it was a waste of money, time, energy. Us energy, we could have focused somewhere else.
Well, and it's
Because
great
it
when
was
you
just-
can agree and it doesn't have to be handled by somebody else, because ultimately you're her parents. You don't want somebody else telling you who, when, how, right? So if you can do it outside of that, that's great, but if it gets to the point where it's just too much, it's something to consider.
Okay.
So if you can just, the same thing, I need to walk through where she sleeps, we have clothes, we have food.
Unfortunately, the room that is designated for Sarah.
So what are you waiting for? Get
An ice
that
box.
and five.
Okay.
To
So
order,
she doesn't sleep in there. Ours sleeps on the couch, so Sarah sleeps with me.
Okay.
Be sure
Okay,
to
so,
ask
but
about our
if
home
you wanna
phone
take a
service
look at
too.
the room, it's a
Call
disaster.
1-800-727-4810.
It doesn't go in there, so it's really cold. It's because there's a basement of it underneath. She sleeps with me, and then sometimes she wants to sleep on the couch, so they switch off. I know that doesn't sound cool or anything, but that's the way I grew up in this house, and that's the way I'm raising my daughter. And I'm okay at it. I slept with my mom till I was like 12.
I lost when I met Kathy. Everything that I knew to be normal, everything that I thought a relationship was, or even raising Sarah Rose, everything had to be put in the trash, and I had to learn all over again. I can't believe it. It hasn't been easy.
Well, sure.
You
And
know.
they have a great relationship. These two are, last night she was having a fit about apparently wanting me to console her. I don't know for what, because she was just laying there on the bed, and then all of a sudden she went to the floor and was acting goofy, and she was sending me text messages over and over and over again, and then she came in here to cry that I wouldn't give her what?
No, that you weren't giving her the
That
attention.
I was so mean to her.
And that was
And the text messages that she was sending me, God, they were horrible.
were they? Yeah.
Mess.
Sarah Rose, and this is something that I've advocated for a while now, that Sarah Rose needs counseling. I believe Sarah Rose needs counseling. She can be very defiant, very ugly, and gets very abusive to me.
She's seeing somebody at PMS though, right?
Yes, she's seeing the school counselor. Unfortunately, we missed the holiday was a really, really difficult time to keep appointments. So, we missed her appointment with her psychiatrist, but she did have a refill, so we were okay with that.
Okay.
So, but I need to make an appointment with
So chat with her psychiatrist and they can get her a counselor through PMS. Not that counseling at school isn't, but
Well, the
PMS
lady-
does visits at school, so it'll be a separate counselor that goes into her school, so she's doing actual counseling in school. Because the counselor doesn't necessarily do that. You go and you talk to your counselor and how things are and whatever, but it's not like a counseling session. So that I would chat
the
with
psychiatrist
PMS.
is just the drug dealer.
She is, yes, and we're not. I'm not advocating for that. I don't discredit the work the benefits that it can be, And Sarah Rose, if anybody would see her and understand, she has like multiple personalities.
Sarah is not an easy child. When she goes with her dad, she's a totally different creature.
Oh, when
When she
this-
comes back, or
she
while she's
can
with
be.
him.
I
While
don't know.
she's with him, he has rules, he has regulations, la 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 la.
And she's with grandparents a lot, and she complained just last night about that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Because
why
of
my
this
dad
job.
wants to take me so bad, because all he ever does is takes me to Grandpa and Grandma's and leaves me there. That was her exact words just last night.
Yes,
You know.
and we. Sarah's already coming up on the age where she wants to make the decision of whether she wants to go with her dad or not, and he's not liking it.
No, he's not
When-
liking
when
it
he
because
when he
poor
took-
thing. I
Well,
feel sorry.
his mother has a lot of influence on him. We won't even go into that because that's never gonna go away. She's mom, and that's it. When he took her for the week and a half for the winter break, the week. I told him when she's ready to come back, it's up to her. That's she can make that decision for
And
herself.
he agreed to that.
And he agreed to that, but then he never.
He didn't follow
And-
through with it.
She hasn't said anything, but she leads up to.
She did call crying
She did call crying.
from grandparents.
She was sick and tired of being there. You
And-
know,
and-
she was. You have to understand that Sarah's being raised in two different races. They're white from Wisconsin. They're even from another state, and then we're Hispanic. We're not your traditional Hispanics, but we're not white. So it's not. She's being exposed to two different ethnic.
But she's at
It's
school
to-
too with a
our-
lot of Mexican influence, and she embraces it, and there isn't a problem with it. The problem is when she's with white people that do have a problem with a lot of Mexicans.
She's kind of being pulled back
She's
and forth, and it's
yeah,
not,
she's
it's
on the
not a
two
racist
different sides
thing.
of the wall.
It's not a racist thing, but that's the
That's the
reality
reality
that I
of
see.
it.
okay. And
When-
I don't have a problem with that or whatever. That's,
Trump
that's,
won-
that's what I chose.
When Trump won the election, you gotta tell her how she came home crying, worrying about her friends being
Carted away.
carted away.
She was, and then
She's very sensitive.
she wanted to know if she had brown skin, if Trump would have liked her. See how smart they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what they see.
I know.
Yeah.
And she's always, poor little thing, she's always wanting to have brown skin, and-
She wants brown hair. She doesn't want to be blonde anymore. She wants
You
brown
know,
hair. So I mean,
just to
she
fit in.
is influenced more in our direction because she is with us more.
Right.
And that's what she knows. That's what she's grown up with. She only has bits and pieces with them because.
Right.
But apparently, when his parents move to Santa Fe in the spring, maybe things will get better. Maybe they'll have more contact with her. And I just wait and see. I don't suggest anything. I don't want for them to think I'm trying to tell them what to do, or how to parent, or whatever. Eric definitely needs parenting, some sort of parenting.
And anger.
So that he can in anger, and so that he can prioritize better. And
Sarah Rose
I'm not
saw-
trying to point my finger all at Eric, because I have my shit in this too.
But-
I'm not perfect.
Sure.
I
Well, I
have.
think the thing though is that he's been pretty fortunate
Yeah.
that from 6 months on you've taken the brunt of the load. And then it's crazy to say, like I even feel weird saying it sometimes because she's not your burden. But he is Disneyland and he doesn't worry about medications and appointments and school and this and that and the other. And then when she goes, he's taking her somewhere else and spending time with his parents. So he's parenting from afar. Knows he's a dad, but he's at a distance dad.
That's a
right.
very good explanation.
And that's the thing is that he's just been blessed, we'll call it, with you just handling everything. Every other weekend, he has to worry about something, and then not even that because he has his parents to help. And granted, maybe he'll square his schedule out or not or whatever. I don't know. I didn't even know that driving for Uber or Lyft was like a full-time thing. I guess it makes sense. I don't
They do food deliveries and all kinds of stuff. Go to McDonald's and take it
Right.
to somebody.
But at the same respect, geographically, how busy can he be in that area? You know,
Well, busier-
but again, neither here nor there. The thing is that, you know, it's just, you've handled the brunt of the load. And again, she's not your burden, she's your child. You don't need a vacation, you don't need a break, you don't need any of these other things. But if his parents are here and they can
Says
help a
who?
little- if his parents are here and they can help a little more, then maybe that would be that help.
And their participation is a new thing now, since he's started working with Uber, because he was asked to leave the family company, and he had no choice but to find something else, and this is what he came up with. And he's
He
a
was working
he's
for
a
his dad.
worker.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a worker. He's a moneymaker, definitely.
But he
You gotta-
does
you
have
gotta-
health issues.
You got to give him that, But who? His dad?
Yeah, it's Eric. Sarah Rose said that Uber is the only job he can get because he has a hernia.
Oh, I didn't know any of that one. No,
That
you
Sarah
didn't-
Rose tells me that. See,
Well, and that's probably something that she heard, and I don't know how true or not true that could be. We need to remember where we're getting our information.
right.
Right. Look, again, neither here nor there. I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. But
Doesn't.
the thing is, though, is that he's just been pretty lucky, pretty fortunate that he's
Thanks
got.
for acknowledging that. I appreciate that.
And
Because
that's
everybody else, the courts, the judge, the liaison, the priority guy, and whatever consultation guy, and all of them, they don't know.
well, and again, the thing that you just need to continue to remember is that you have those guys as allies if you need them,
Really?
for lack of a better term, because things like her not getting her meds with him, or not agreeing on something, or whatever the situation, even though you don't want Big Brother to watch over, you can file stuff in the courts. You have a mediator, you have a facilitator, you have all of these things, so that way it gets squared away, so that it's not an endless street for you. Because I can tell you what you're going to do is you're going to be like, you know what, screw it, I'm not going to argue with you, we're not going to do it. But who's missing out?
Yeah.
Her.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You don't want to have that battle
Uh-uh.
with him, which I understand. Of course, you don't want. I get it, but if it's not working
First
out,
priority.
you're gonna have to do something. You're
First
gonna have
priority.
Okay.
I want to ask you
She's
something.
getting older
Okay.
now.
How much weight does a stepfather have to go to the court and
Well, none.
no,
No,
that
the thing
really,
is that you've got mom and dad willing and able. You're very much an active participant in her life. Legally, your mom's husband,
yeah, I'm just an extension of her.
basically.
Yeah.
And what she allows and what she does here is the extent of it, because legally, dad is very much part of the picture.
Mhm.
Right. So, I mean, and not to exclude you or discount the fact that you're very active and you're really her dad, because he's not here but 4 days a month, right?
Yeah.
But legally,
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing is that he does things that to push my buttons, like he acted out in a sexual manner over here in the house when he came in when we
I
did.
told you about that.
I tried to be civil with this guy, but he does it. And then the
Well,
stories I hear from the little one, they're jaw dropping,
right?
and I can't believe it, And I take it all in and I hold it all in, but then he comes out here and he threatens. When I tell him about it, I said I don't appreciate it. You're gonna come in, act civil, and right away he wanted to fight. Now he wanted to fight right in front of the little one. Well, of course I didn't back down, but that's not a good thing
Well,
for her to.
Right. And the thing is at that point, what you need to do with that is maybe you need a protection order so that he can't come around.
Yeah.
Because that's something.
Well,
that
that's
you can
why I
do.
asked you about the weight of a stepfather, because, I don't like that type of. She doesn't need to see it.
Well,
It
we've-
scares her.
Well, and maybe not having the exchanges where everybody is present is one thing, right? Not that you have to go out of your way to go pick her up. He can bring her. Don't get out of the car.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
get out of the car, or you get out to go and get her.
Well,
That's what I
just small
prefer.
things that
That's
we
Yeah.
what
do.
I've tried to do. I've tried to call me when you get in the driveway, and I'll send her out. But Sarah is a procrastinator, and she's never ready What? She's,
Well, I
So
think
there's
like
things
him.
that can happen. We can get a protection order so that he cannot come on the property. That's not
We
necessarily
don't
going to be
need-
beneficial to her.
we don't need
No.
to go to that extent.
right.
We're
Yeah.
adults and we can deal with that. What we used to do was we used to meet over at the marketplace. But I'll be honest with you, him coming over here is convenient for
Right.
me because I don't have to go
he's
out.
never on time, too.
Yeah.
We were at the marketplace, I don't know how many times waiting for
Even
him.
when we were
Every
at a
time.
meeting place. it
Every
still
time.
showed.
So no, bringing him here is good, but he should realize and needs to be told that he's not the most important guy in the world. I mean, we have a life
He
too.
wants for the world to revolve around Eric.
How it has been.
Yeah.
Thusly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I say, I mean, unfortunately, you have your part in this is kind of the monster you created.
Yeah.
I know.
And I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have had
He's
this. and
already
you don't
talked
need
to me about it.
Yeah. You don't need me to come in and tell you because you know. But the only way,
Take your medicine, son.
the only way is there's legal things we can do that it's written and it's done. Otherwise, you guys seem to be getting along civilly. Have
I
a
prefer
conversation.
that, yeah.
Have the conversation. Be like, listen, dude, this is what it is. Period. Period. And that's it. Now, if he's still not being respected, or he's still overstepping his bounds, or whatever the situation, you have options.
Yeah.
That's not anything that I can help with.
Right. You've done your part.
So it's just. It is what it is. Situation at hand, for lack of a better term. You have a child who's pretty well adjusted and is doing well. Otherwise,
We want her to continue to grow
Right.
in a
and if
healthy
you guys,
manner.
Right, and if you guys all can get along the way you have been, aside from the scuffles, the courts not being involved is always the best.
Yes.
You guys
And not just because it's cheaper,
No.
but because you're her parent. You don't want somebody else telling you how to parent.
And besides that, the little one doesn't understand that either. I mean, it's a trauma for her too
Right,
to see
right.
us going through all that.
I would definitely continue with PMS, not only because the meds are seem to be helping, but because that's where she can get established with her counselor. You know what it is to have that outlet and to talk to someone. She needs that as well.
Yes.
So was this last time that we were in court, this last time you came around, well, I thought we were supposed to do that. We were supposed to go and do,
Family
I
counseling.
insisted on a therapist, not a counselor. I
Through PMS?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
we ended up with a Christian. We tried to get a Christian counselor.
And that didn't work.
And it didn't work out.
She was nice and she was good at her job or whatever, but she's another state employee. No offense. You guys get paid regardless. Whether,
No, maybe not.
And well, I don't
I
know.
hope
whatever.
you do.
Well, whatever. And she was cool, and Eric and I established a better relationship between each other. But she was not fair. She needs to be present.
Well, so here's the thing with that is that when we had our conversation the other day, you're truly level-headed, you can see both sides, and I can respect that because I don't always get this. I don't always get the, I know that I did some of this, and I have my shit and all of that. I don't hardly ever get that if we're being honest. So, you're really level with the situation, but you don't always need the CYFD influence. If the Christian one isn't working, let's look into something else.
Yeah.
Or look into something else, or look into something
Well,
else
that's what we
because
have
it
to
doesn't.
do.
Right, and that's the thing. What you know Herbert more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Period. And you know what she can benefit from and what she needs. You just need to be her voice, and you need to advocate for her. If that one didn't work out, well, there's plenty of others. And what I'm gonna give you, if you log on to pulltogether.org, just one word, pull
I've
together.
seen it.
There's
Commercial.
tons of resources. Tons. There's all the counseling there is in Santa Fe, all the resources there are for families, everything. So that you don't need CYFD to come in and be like, listen, I'm making this referral because this is what you need. You know. I can't force you guys to do anything anyway. I can make referrals, but if you're not going to follow through with them, or they're not going to call in a timely manner, whatever the situation, everything with us is voluntary anyway. But you know what she needs. Just jump on that website, see what there is. If this one doesn't work out, give it a time or two. If it doesn't work out, let's try something else. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be a fit somewhere. And you know that she needs to see somebody.
Sure.
Period.
I do, and
It's
that's
just
why
working it out.
that's why we got the ball rolling. I was very grateful that when I went for my parent, this started when I went with the parent teacher conference. The school counselor was present because of her behavior at school, and that's where this stemmed from. And we had already been discussing that we needed to do that, and it's not that I don't want to do things, but sometimes I need to be pushed.
Sure.
I have to be.
You would
Well, and
not.
sometimes what happens though is that things kind of chill. So her behaviors got better, and
Yeah.
like, not that she just overnight like got better. Not that there's anything wrong with her either, but not just that she woke up one day and cool, everything's better.
The
So sometimes
medication
things kinda
did
chill
help
out, and
real
then it's
good.
like, okay, well, we're good. And then another flare up.
Well, that's
we'll
what
call it.
happens with mental illness. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, that's what it is. It's, when it comes down to it all, that's what it's about.
That medication did have an effect on her, not immediately, but pretty rather quickly.
And she's very faithful too.
And
She's very.
yes, she takes it on her own.
But
And
the thing also though is that we don't want her medicated for her whole life.
No,
Right.
of course not.
Possibility that
Right.
she might need to be. You know, things
Right.
happen. But all of this other venues, this counseling, all of this other stuff, stepdad and dad getting along, kumbayaing, we might not need meds forever.
right.
But it's just ironing it out, you know.
Right.
You guys filling it out and what works and what doesn't work. And
Well-
looking for something else and
If we keep in mind that Sarah Rose is our primary interest,
right.
nobody else really counts.
Well,
And
you
if
know,
you keep that in mind, I think then everything would work out.
and as stressful as it is for you, this is the low end of what I see. Absolute low end.
I believe
Right.
that.
So there is a possibility that you guys could work it out without any intervention from anybody.
Oh, good.
You know,
Well, at
it's
least children,
possible.
at least the child isn't being abused and isn't
Right.
being killed, and there isn't drugs and alcohol and bullshit involved.
Right.
You know, I
She's
mean,
been loved.
she's being loved, she's being nurtured, she's being raised the best that I can. You know, I only know how to raise her because of how my mom raised me.
Right.
There's changes I've made, of course, breakthroughs I've made of yay, but you know, it's still you can't be perfect.
She's so close
No,
to her
definitely.
mother.
And there is
Oh
no-
my goodness, everything's about her mom. You could look around, see all her art, and it's all about mom. You know, she just, and that's great. I edify that. You know,
I think even in this case in particular, what my personal perception was that she started seeing a new counselor. She brought up, because she was obviously traumatized by what happened, she brought up something that has already been addressed, and that's why this case is happening again. Not necessarily something new, not necessarily something that's happening, whatever the situation. So I feel like from then to now, things happen to be pretty consistent because nothing new has sparked up. It's just there's a new therapist, the same disclosure from the previous time, and then that's what got the ball rolling. That was my perception. I
Okay.
don't know exactly that's
It's
what it was.
another
Yep.
entity entered. Is
Right.
what happened.
the school.
And so,
yeah.
you know, now the school is helping you guys get, you know, the meds and the
Yeah.
counseling and whatever else. So it's just always, there's always a silver lining.
And we're
right?
always
But still,
available
bigger
to the
picture-
school.
But the bigger picture is nothing new is happening. So,
If
you
they
know.
call, I mean, if they call, we're there.
He's gotten past a lot of resentment. He's let go of a lot of just crap that he had built up.
And that's a big thing too. And
It
it's
is
just
for him, and I
interesting-
applaud him.
And it's interesting at this stage of the game, considering we've been from 6 months old. Like,
Well,
if it's
he
taking
had.
this long, then it's still gonna take a little
Well,
bit
Eric
longer.
had to mature in that time as
Sure.
well. Because
Sure.
Eric was only, gosh, 35 years old or something like that, 33 years old when she was born. You know, men don't mature till they're 35, 40s.
4 or so.
Uh,
Well, anything else, don't hesitate. I closed my case because I don't have anything concrete in terms of what my allegations were. I still want to handle the conversation because, again, I'm getting 2 different stories. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of truth. But I just want to be there and be like, listen, we need to get these meds, period. We need to do it. We need to do it. That's what's in her best interest. I don't fully believe in meds myself personally.
And it may
anyway,
not be
but
forever.
it's not going to be forever. If that's
Yeah.
what's helping her right now and that's what's stabilizing everything, let's do it.
the,
Period.
Yeah.
primarily what Sarah is taking those meds for is for the night terrors. There's a lot of night terrors because it helps her sleep. It's only 1 milligram. It's not anything
Yeah,
to.
so she's not like
No.
zombied out or anything
Oh, no.
crazy.
No,
And
no.
that's also the thing. Like, listen, this is what it is. Let's get on the same page in terms of parenting with discipline. What happens here happens here. In terms of discipline, you're gonna have different rules. That's just the way it is. Culturally, you're gonna have different
Yes.
rules. Period.
Mhm.
But in terms of how we're raising her, right from wrong, discipline, let's be consistent with that because that's what's in her best interest. Do what you're gonna do. If you're gonna ground her, whatever, do that. Handle that, whatever. But
Be
what's wrong
consistent.
here is wrong here.
Yeah.
Period. Let's get her meds. Let's do this. Like, there's no reason to fight each other anymore at this stage of the
The
game.
phone might be a fight. That's one fight I can already see coming, and I'm advocating for Sarah Rose. I believe that she should have her phone. You know, maybe not spend so much time on it,
Right.
but should have it available to her without her worrying about him smashing
Yeah,
it.
but the thing is that the way Eric's point of view is that when Sarah goes with him, that's his time.
Right.
And he doesn't, and I can appreciate that as well. You know, if he were to call and say, "Can I come pick Sarah up for about 3 hours?" I'd be, "Yes, come for her now." You
Right.
know, but with him, it's completely different.
Yeah, and there's things though that you guys can
Well,
do
we
with
can
that.
talk about that. Yeah.
There's things that you can do with that because I feel like regardless of who she's with, even just a text message like, "Hey mom, good night, I love you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Hey dad, good
Yeah.
night, I love you." You know, it's not because I agree with you. I'm definitely on the fence with the whole phone thing too because all you see is this.
Yeah.
All you see are these little
Yeah,
zombies
yeah.
walking around on their phones all day. But being able to say like, "Mom, listen, I'm here.
That's a
Good night,
learning
I love
tool.
you." Boom. You
Yeah.
know? But again, those are things that you guys don't need anyone else to tell you.
Yeah.
Just have that conversation with him.
I will.
You know?
We will.
We will.
Okay, so anything else, don't hesitate, reach out. You will be getting your letter in the mail. Like I said, I closed it. I didn't have anything in terms of that, but there's still some things that I want to handle while
And well, I
can still kind of
appreciate
be
that,
the mediator.
especially where the
Yeah.
meds are
Not
concerned.
because I'm the
Yeah.
judge or the jury or have all of this
Well,
power,
at
but
least you're a
sometimes
willing
it just
participant.
helps.
Yeah. Yes,
At
it
least you're a
does.
willing participant, and we appreciate that. And
Food is the last thing that we have
Oh.
food.
there's not a whole lot
We're
in
doing
there.
all right.
Well, we have plenty of food.
We always,
So this is your childhood home then?
Yes, I was
Good deal.
born and raised here. Yes.
Good deal.
And when mom passed away, well, she left it to me, and it's mine now. And this is how I know how to live. And it needs a lot of work. It's old. It's a
So where did you go to school then? What's
Alfrea Elementary when it was.
when it was Alfred?
Yeah, now it's a early development.
and then Capital.
And then I went to Alameda, and then I went to Santa Fe High my freshman year, and then ended up at Capitol High School.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Born and raised.
okay. I'm
Well, again, like I said,
I'm an
taking
ESA
it
from
all-
the barrio.
Just reach out. Let's try and coordinate as best because, of course, we all have lives. I have tons of clients, right? So if we can coordinate a date and time, this is what we're gonna do. I'll call you. I'll call him. We'll all talk. Boom, knock it out.
Sure.
But we need to coordinate something. Thank you for being available today. Unfortunately, he had the drive. Whatever happened, but
We'll try
that's
and
how
get
it has to.
Eric
be.
is being Eric.
It's not like I just don't want to. I've got 2 minutes. I'm gonna call. And hopefully everybody's available. It's something that needs to be scheduled.
Yes.
And the thing is that I just need to stress for him, like, listen, I understand this is your livelihood. We need this to happen.
Well, he
10
needs
minutes
to.
at most.
He needs to take time out of his life and address his daughter's
Right.
issues.
Right.
I wanted to say good luck with your new boss.
Oh, whoever it is.
Well, they picked him today.
Oh, did they?
She appointed
Who did
somebody
they appoint? Do
today.
you know?
Yeah, I forgot the name.
We haven't heard anything yet, so I'm sure we'll have
Yeah.
more of a meeting soon.
He was appointed today.
It was a guy?
Yeah.
Yes, man.
Okay. Well, hopefully things work out. It's
Work
just
out.
always, it's so stressful because it's, it's learning something.